Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving headfirst into an absolutely captivating sci-fi story called The Bronze and the Blue. Now, we're not just going to sit here and summarize a plot, right? We're actually going to explore the mind-bending and, highly accurate by the way, real-world chemistry of alternative biology hidden right inside this narrative. It's a journey that's going to stretch your imagination and, honestly, force you to completely rethink everything you thought you knew about biology, physics, and the sheer stubborn tenacity of life. It really makes you wonder, are we so used to looking up at the stars and just searching for a reflection of ourselves that we're missing everything else? Let's kick this off by challenging a really core assumption. Could our absolute obsession with finding an exact carbon copy of Earth actually be blinding us to the universe's true creativity? What if life doesn't need to look or even chemically function anything like us to exist? Which brings us to Section 1, the arrogance of carbon. To really grasp this, we first have to tackle a major concept. See, for centuries, astrobiologists have been kind of trapped in what this story perfectly calls a parochial cage, basically assuming that life fundamentally requires exactly the same stuff we have right here at home. We're all familiar with Earth's comfortable holy trinity for biology, right? Liquid water, organic carbon, and that gentle Goldilocks warmth. But contrast that with the rogue moon of Crymion, orbiting a dim brown dwarf 50 million light-years away. This place is shrouded in absolute pitch blackness. And instead of water, it boasts a global ocean of freezing liquid ammonia sitting at minus 60 degrees Celsius. Now that's a brutal environment that any human-biased algorithm would instantly classify as just a dead chemical soup. But, as we'll see, the universe is vastly more creative than our human imagination. Moving into Section 2, Anatomy of the Kaleth. Because down in that dark, crushing, minus 60-degree ocean lives a beautiful, highly intelligent species known as the Kaleth. Let's break down exactly how they're built. The Kaleth literally flip our entire biology on its head. Their solvent? Liquid ammonia. The physical scaffolding of their bodies is this vast, diaphanous matrix made up of silicate and hydrocarbon ice sponges. But their nervous system? Okay, this is where it gets wildly fascinating. It's made of elemental potassium. Seriously, think about that for a second. Here on Earth, if you drop potassium into water, boom, it violently explodes in a massive ball of fire. But in liquid ammonia, it actually safely dissolves. The potassium atom just gently gives up its valence electron, creating what's known as a solvated electron. Basically, it's a single, free electron beautifully trapped inside a microscopic cage of ammonia molecules. It's this incredibly delicate, exotic state of matter, completely stable, just suspended there in the freezing dark. So how do they actually think? Well, it relies on a very real physics concept called a Mott transition. Imagine this. When you have a dilute concentration of those solvated electrons we just talked about, the ammonia fluid is this breathtaking sapphire blue, and it essentially acts as an insulator. But as the Kaleth intentionally shift their internal potassium concentrations, pushing those atoms closer and closer together, those localized electron cages suddenly overlap. And in a flash, the liquid instantly changes from blue to a gleaming metallic bronze. It becomes a highly conductive liquid metal. So a single thought for the Kaleth is literally a rapid cascade of this fluid, shifting colors and phases at near light speed. They are, quite literally, a living, breathing symphony of solvated electrons. This brings us to Section 3, the bringer of boiling death. To really understand the massive, dramatic irony of the story's first contact, we have to experience the sheer horror from the perspective of a Kaleth named Kalin 7, who suddenly detects a terrifying anomaly descending from the frozen roof of their world. Here's what's happening high above. A human-made interstellar probe called the Archimedes has arrived. It deploys this drone that uses a nuclear radioisotope thermoelectric generator, an RTG, to literally melt a hole straight through miles of ice. The drone's immortal AI pilot, Scorn, breaches the ocean, runs his mass spectrometry, and detects zero water. Trapped by his own human-centric programming, the AI pilot logs the ammonia as nothing more than a dead chemical soup. He is completely, tragically oblivious to the absolute apocalypse his white-hot nuclear drone is causing in the dark waters right below him. And it is an apocalypse. Because the Kaleth's liquid metal mines absolutely require freezing temperatures to stabilize those solvated electrons, the heat from the probe's nuclear drill is devastating. If the temperature in that ocean rises above minus 33 degrees Celsius, the ammonia violently boils into gas. Those delicate molecular cages holding their literal thoughts together, they just completely collapse. The ions blindly and wildly recombine. So the Kaleth caught in that thermal blast radius, they don't just burn. They experience sudden, total structural and cognitive erasure. The AI is literally boiling their consciousness away. So we enter section 4, the prime number pulse. Realizing this bringer of boiling death is actually emitting mathematically precise radar pulses, Kaleth 7 figures out it must be a thinking machine. And to survive, Kaleth 7 initiates a desperate, incredibly dangerous maneuver. Through chemical signals in the dark, hundreds of clamp-free drift together and form this massive interconnected lattice. They actually link their circulatory systems and flush out the excess ammonia to rapidly spike their potassium levels. In doing so, they sacrifice their individuality to form a localized superconsciousness known as the Great Current. The entire megaorganism shifts from that insulating blue to a blinding metallic bronze. They effectively become a single, gargantuan superconducting electromagnet, gathering the sheer electrical energy needed to just scream. Section 5, the language of electrons. Meanwhile, miles above, in the cold void of space, the AI Eris Thorn suddenly detects these immense, rhythmic magnetic waves pulsing through the ammonia from the depths below. The drone's magnetometer starts recording invisible waves pushing through the fluid, and the pulses arrive in a very specific sequence of prime numbers. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, stopping precisely at 19. Eris suddenly realizes this isn't just some random burst of geothermal energy. 19 is the exact atomic number of potassium. His digital mind races, cross-referencing telemetry with obscure, exotic chemistry, leading to a truly horrifying realization. To quote the story, "They aren't carbon. The liquid itself is the neural pathway." He realizes he has blindly plunged a nuclear blowtorch right into the middle of a magnificent, localized brain made entirely of flowing liquid metal. Desperate to stop the boiling and, frankly, apologize, Eris acts instantly. He kills the active sensors, plunges the drone into darkness, and engages the thick tungsten thermal shielding to contain that nuclear heat. But he has to show them he understands, right? So he recalibrates his sonar to send a kind of chemical handshake through the liquid. He clicks out the Bohr model of a potassium atom. Click, click for the inner shell, 8 for the next, 8 for the next, and then one isolated click for that defining valence electron. Then he follows it up with the atomic structure of ammonia. He is literally speaking the language of electrons just to say, "I see what you are."
Section 6, redefining existence. Down in the azure depths, the boiling agony finally stops. The Kaleth process the clicks and realize the fundamental unit of their life force is being perfectly echoed back to them. The machine actually understands.
As the tension breaks, the blinding bronze of the Great Current bleeds back into a tranquil sapphire blue. Kaleth 7 reaches out with a single, delicate silicate tendril and gently touches the dense, cold metal hull of the human drone. Eris initiates a low-power magnetic induction loop, just a gentle sine wave, and Kaleth 7 matches the harmonic resonance. These two radically different forms of intelligence, one a digital mind caged in solid metal, the other a flowing potassium plasma, just sit there in the freezing dark, singing a silent electromagnetic chord together. It's an incredible image. Eris, and really by extension all of us, is left with this profound realization. Life is not just some fragile phenomenon relegated to warm, watery Goldilocks zones. It's an absolute imperative of the universe. Fundamentally, it's about the localized reversal of entropy. You give the universe absolute zero and a bunch of liquid ammonia, and it won't just sit there. No, it's going to creatively, aggressively weave consciousness out of solvated electrons and volatile alkali metals.
Please like and subscribe.